Howie Roseman is playing a dangerous game of roster roulette, and the Philadelphia Eagles just made a series of moves that will either be hailed as a stroke of genius or remembered as the beginning of a total disaster. The Birds are officially shaking up the foundation of this team, and if you think the roster is set, you are dead wrong. We're talking about a massive gamble on a former quarterback turned tight end, a backfield reclamation project that could blow up in their faces, and a high-stakes ultimatum for the highest-paid leg in franchise history. Is Philadelphia building a powerhouse, or are they just collecting spare parts and hoping for a miracle? The clock is ticking, and the 2026 season just got a whole lot more interesting. Before we dive in, smash that subscribe button if you want the fastest NFL updates on the planet. The Philadelphia Eagles are moving at lightning speed right now. While the rest of the league is the front office is working overtime.
It really dictates the defense.
Find value in the most unexpected places. We saw a flurry of activity today that touches almost every facet of the roster: offense, special teams, and the salary cap. It's Mini Friday, but there is nothing small about the implications of these signings. The Birds are officially adding Stone Smartt to the tight end room on a one-year deal. Now, if that name doesn't immediately ring a bell, don't feel bad, but you need to pay attention because his path to Philly is one of the most insane journeys we've seen in years. Howie Roseman has clearly made the tight end position a priority this offseason. We already know Dallas Goedert is the alpha in that room, back on his one-year, $7 million deal. We saw Grant Calcaterra get his extension with $700,000 guaranteed, and they brought in Johnny Mundt with $750,000 guaranteed to be that heavy-hitting blocker. But the addition of Stone Smartt adds a layer of pure athleticism that this room was arguably missing. This isn't just another body. This is a developmental project with a wow factor that could change how the Eagles use their 12 personnel packages. But wait until you hear about the bizarre career path this guy took just to get a locker in Philadelphia. Stone Smartt is 6 feet 4 inches and 226 pounds of pure versatility. Get this. He started his college career as a quarterback. He was slinging the rock at Northern Arizona back in 2017 before taking the junior college route at Riverside City. He eventually landed at Old Dominion, still playing under center, but then the world stopped in 2020. When he came back, he wasn't a QB anymore. He moved to wide receiver, and then, in a desperate bid to make it in the NFL, he bulked up and transitioned to tight end. Think about that for a second. This guy has the vision of a quarterback, the hands of a receiver, and the frame of a tight end. He spent time with the Chargers and the Jets, and while the stats don't jump off the page, 38 catches for 432 yards over 4 years. The raw metrics are terrifying. We're talking about a 40-inch vertical and a broad jump that cleared 11 feet. He is an elite leaper. In 2024 with the Chargers, he was averaging over 13 yards per catch. That is explosive for a tight end. The Eagles aren't looking for a volume shooter here. They're looking for a guy who can stretch the seam and play high-level special teams. However, despite the guaranteed money handed out to guys like Calcaterra and Mundt, nobody in that backup role is safe. Stone Smartt is coming in to compete, and if he flashes that 4.62 speed in camp, someone is getting cut. The Eagles are creating a pressure cooker in that tight end room. But is it enough to satisfy the coaching staff, or will Howie still look to the draft for a long-term heir to Goedert? Speaking of the draft, the Eagles just threw a massive wrench into their running back plans by signing a name that will sound very familiar to AFC South fans. Who is the biggest winner in the Eagles' new-look backfield? Drop a name in the comments right now. The Eagles have officially signed Dameon Pierce to a one-year contract. If you remember Pierce's rookie year with the Houston Texans, you know why this is a massive talking point. Back in 2022, this guy was a human bowling ball. He racked up nearly 1,000 yards and was the heartbeat of that Houston offense. But since then, it has been a steady decline into what happened territory. His production fell off a cliff, his carries disappeared, and he eventually found himself cut by Houston before a short, unproductive stint with the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, he lands in Philadelphia. Let's look at this depth chart because it's getting crowded. Obviously, Saquon Barkley is the king of this hill. He's RB1 and the focal point of the entire offense. Behind him, you've got Tank Bigsby as the RB2, who really showed he could handle the rock late last season. Then you have the rookie Will Shipley at RB3. So, where does Dameon Pierce fit? He's coming in as RB4, battling for a roster spot. Pierce isn't a burner. He ran a 4.70 40-yard dash, which is sluggish for the modern NFL. He's also struggled as a pass protector, which is a massive red flag if you want to play next to Jalen Hurts. But he has shown flashes of being a touchdown vulture and a guy who can grind out tough yards in the 4-minute drill. Last year, he averaged over 7 yards per carry in a very limited sample size before being let go. The talent is there, but the consistency is gone. Philadelphia is also experimenting with the fullback position again. Carson Steele and Cam Ladu are going to be duking it out for that hybrid role. If the Eagles actually commit to a lead blocker in 2026, it could open up massive lanes for Saquon, but also means there are fewer seats at the table for guys like Pierce. If a high-end talent like Nicholas Singleton or Katron Allen falls to the Eagles on day 3 of the draft, Howie Roseman won't hesitate to pull the trigger. If that happens, Dameon Pierce's stay in Philly might be over before the preseason ends. This backfield is a high-octane experiment, but it's nothing compared to the drama happening with the most reliable player on the roster. Or, should I say, the player who used to be the most reliable. Wait until you see what the front office just did to Jake Elliott's contract. The Eagles pulled the trigger on a major contract restructure for Jake Elliott this morning, and the numbers tell a fascinating story. They trimmed his base pay from $6 million down to $5 million. But here is the kicker. Literally, they guaranteed every single cent of it. This move lowered his cap hit for 2026 by about $240,000. On the surface, it looks like a simple cap maneuver to give Howie more breathing room to sign more free agents. But if you read between the lines, this is a massive vote of confidence and a massive ultimatum. By guaranteeing that money, the Eagles are saying, Jake, you are our guy for 2026. But make no mistake, the seat is getting incredibly hot. Jake Elliott has been a legend in this city since 2017. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. He was Jake the Make. But over the last 2 seasons, something has gone wrong. The automatic kicker we once knew has started to flicker like a dying light bulb. In 2025, Elliott posted a field goal percentage of 74.1%. That is the lowest mark of his entire career. For a guy who is currently the second highest paid kicker in the entire National Football League, that is unacceptable. The most concerning part isn't the short kicks, it's the long-distance bombs. Before 2024, you could practically mark down 3 points the moment Jake stepped onto the field for a 50-yarder. Lately, he's been a liability from distance. In 2024, he went a pathetic 1-for-7 on kicks from 50 yards or further. Think about how many games are decided by one possession in this league. You cannot have a high-priced veteran missing 85% of his long-range attempts. In 2025, he improved slightly to 4 of 8 from that range, but that's still just a coin flip. Compare that to the rest of the league, where kickers are routinely nailing 60-yarders like they're extra points. Because of this decline, we saw Nick Sirianni lose faith. The Eagles started going for it on 4th down in situations where, 2 years ago, they wouldn't have hesitated to kick. When your coach doesn't trust your leg, the entire offensive strategy shifts, and usually not for the better. The Eagles have now invested in punter Braden Mann and doubled down on Elliot, hoping that the veteran can find his magic one last time. This is the final stand for Jake Elliott. He is officially on notice. If he doesn't return to his Jake the Make form and continues to be Missy Elliott from 50 yards out, the Eagles will have no choice but to move on in 2027. The legacy is there, the rings are there, but the production has to follow the paycheck. The Eagles are built to win now. They are signing versatile tight ends, taking flyers on former star running backs, and restructuring legends to save pennies. Every move is a piece of a much larger puzzle that Howie Roseman is trying to solve before the season kicks off. Will Stone Smartt be the hidden gem of free agency? Can Dameon Pierce rediscover his rookie form? And can Jake Elliott save his career in Philadelphia? The roster is evolving every single hour, and the stakes have never been higher. The 2026 season is shaping up to be a defining moment for this era of Eagles football. You do not want to miss a single update as we head toward the draft and training camp. Would you like me to analyze the Eagles' remaining salary cap space and suggest 3 potential defensive targets they should pursue next?